Hi, Paul Elam with An Ear for Men. In the world of men's issues, we often talk about the pitfalls of marriage, by which we usually mean the pitfalls of divorce. We imagine, and rightly so, a marriage ending followed by years of being sodomized by the state. We think about working our asses off to provide for someone, then to see them, with the aid of uniformed thugs, taking everything we've worked for and strolling off to do the same thing to someone else. We think about having children with someone, then having them rip our guts out by taking those children away. What if I told you that in the bad marriage department, all those things are best case scenarios? What if I told you that there is something far worse than the worst princess can do with the help of family courts? You see, there is one good thing about her taking your children, home, income, and everything else with her, leaving you with your broken dreams and a stack of bills. It's the leaving part. That's right. At the very least, if she walks off with all your shit, she's still walking off. Even if she is connected to you through the children, you can learn the skills to minimize her impact on your life. You can eventually move on, hopefully having learned to give your picker a tune-up before you go another round with hypergamy. But what about the countless millions of miserable bastards who marry Ms. Right, find out her first name is Always, and then end up spending decades with her paying for the bad choice? These are guys who would love to file for a divorce, who are desperate to do so, but don't think they can for one reason or another. Maybe it's for the kids, or for knowing she will destroy their reputation if they leave. Maybe it's because they fear post-divorce poverty, or because they fear the ever more common post-divorce incarceration. Many of these guys, I'll wager most of them, also stay because of emotional dependence, because despite the fact that she's an insufferable, demonic bitch on wheels 24/7, they just don't know if they can take the pain of losing her. Whatever the reason or reasons, they stay, and they pay. They live life like a deer in the headlights, like a mouse trembling before a cat that is toying with them before moving in for the kill. Now, I'm trying to keep this dark subject a little bit light, but I have to say that I would bet good money that if you found out what was going on behind a lot of murder-suicides, you would find a scenario like this. He can't leave, he can't stay, he ends it tragically. That is all the more reason for a man to use some caution, to actually practice some discernment when deciding to do anything with a woman, much less something as drastic and risk-laden as marriage. Simple and sweet, guys. If her tits and ass are making the choice for you, start practicing your ability to bend over and grab your ankles. You're going to need that flexibility down the road. But let's not just focus on gloom and doom. There are actually things you can do, if you can think from the neck up early in a relationship, to cut down your chances of your life becoming a living manifestation of the Clash song, "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" They are not foolproof. Nothing is foolproof. But I bet you can get the trash to take itself out in a lot of cases with the following 7 ways to screen out female losers. Number 1, tell her no to something. Almost anything. If you pay close enough attention to her reaction, you might not need to practice the other 6 suggestions. How she behaves on your being the one to deliver the no means no message is the ultimate informant about a woman's nature and her character. I suggest some discernment over what you pick to say no to. For instance, if her cat gets sick and she has to be put down, saying no to her request for you to drive her to the vet is probably not your most opportune situation. After all, the point is not to see if she will put up with an asshole. On the other hand, if she wants you to go see some chick flick with her and you'd rather gargle with battery acid, then you have a good setup to test her out. Just tell her no and tell her why. Tell her you need to find a compromise movie because you don't want to sit there for 2 hours and pretend to like something you actually hate. As a side note here, this may mean you will not find her sitting next to you for Terminator 6. How you react to that will tell her what kind of person you are. But back to the point, watch what she does when you toss the no. Does she get stiff and cold? Does she utter the ubiquitous "fine" that we all know is actually a promise for retribution? Does she get angry and acts as though she can't believe that you won't give her what she wants at every turn? Does she throw a tantrum, because you know some of them do? Does she get a headache at bedtime that night? Or does she just shrug it off and offer to find another movie that you both might enjoy? Mind you, if she does that last one, don't take it as proof that she's a keeper. More testing is required. If, however, she has any of the other reactions, your bitch alarm should be ringing in your ears like a bad case of tinnitus. The first sign of a female loser is that she has to get her way. Test number 2. Insist that she share in the finances. This one is often a showstopper, and a lot of guys are afraid of it because they think that despite all the nonsense about equality, that they still have to pay. But listen up, guys. Any woman in 2016 that still expects to feed off your wallet, that expects you to be willing to pay, and I'm putting emphasis here, just for the pleasure of talking to her over dinner, is a guaranteed loser. And if you do it, so are you. Enough said. Test 3. If a woman has a child and the father is not deeply involved, get out. Women with children are not the most attractive investments to begin with. There's always a ton of baggage, and you'll never be in a place to box all that crap up and put it in storage. When the father is absent, it is far, far worse. 1, he is likely not in the picture for reasons Princess doesn't want you to know about. You don't want it to hit you like a lightning bolt 3 years later when you're contemplating getting out yourself that you now know exactly why he got out of Dodge. Loser female test number 4. Fail her shit tests and make sure that she feels uncomfortable with your reaction every time she issues one. For those of you who don't know what a shit test is, it is when a woman puts you intentionally through some sort of psychological or emotional trial to estimate how much she can ascend above you in importance. When a woman shit tests you, and consciously or unconsciously almost every last one of them do, send her the message that manipulation, emotional blackmail, and psychological coercion will get her less than nothing. Not only that, call her on the shit test for exactly what they are. Tell her you won't be controlled like that. Hold her to account and don't back down, not ever. It won't stop her from issuing shit tests, but if she can tolerate a man who will never pass them, she is showing a connection to her integrity that a lesser woman will not have. She might be worth your time. 5. Measure how she reacts to your boundaries. For instance, the first time she complains about one of your friends for no valid reason, tell her that her opinions about your friends aren't relevant. You don't have to be assholish about it, but you do have to be direct and firm. A woman trying to isolate you from your friends is dangerous with a capital D. Isolating the victim is one of the universal hallmarks of an abuser. Most women will try this at one point or another. It just seems to be in their nature. Your job is to find out whether they can learn to put a stop to it. If they can't stop, you better start. Running, that is. And don't look back. And you may not have to. If you just make clear your hostility toward anyone trying to isolate you, the losers will find the exit. Just keep a hand on your wallet during the test period. Number 6, ask yourself the same question once a week. Is she someone who builds a relationship or just someone who takes from one? It's a simple question, and you will know the answer for sure by about the 90-day mark, maybe sooner. The onus is on you, as it always is in life, to spine up and face the answer. If you are looking for a relationship and you know all she can do is take from one, then don't end up blaming her if you stay and wind up miserable. Your life, your job. And at last, test number 7. Set your ingrained fears aside and get used to the idea that how women treat you is up to you. Understand that having a spine won't keep you from getting laid or getting love. There are decent women in the world. Admittedly, with third-wave feminism, cultural narcissism, and many women being socialized into personality-disordered entitlement queens, you have your work cut out for you. These realities make it all the more important to do that work, all the more important that you take the reins in your own life and freaking think about what you're doing with women. There is a lot more riding on it than just losing your shit in a divorce. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this installment from An Ear for Men. Links to my site, book, and the Patreon page are in the low bar for those that want to offer support or get an education. With that, we'll see you next time.